Tom Bauer has built a reputation as one of the most uncompromising biographers of powerful public figures. And whenever his name is linked to a new expose, it instantly sparks debate. When it comes to Meghan Markle, that reaction is amplified even further. Loved by supporters and criticized by skeptics, Meghan remains one of the most discussed figures of the modern royal era. In recent commentary and renewed discussion around Bauer's work, attention has shifted once again to what he claims are new secrets about her life, ambitions, and methods. Whether seen as revelations or reinterpretations, these claims have reignited global conversation. According to Bauer's perspective, Meghan's story did not begin with royalty, but with ambition shaped long before she met Prince Harry. He portrays her as someone intensely focused on control of her own narrative, determined to rise in industries where visibility and influence are everything. From her early acting years to her lifestyle blogging days, Bauer suggests a consistent pattern: careful image management, strategic relationships, and an acute awareness of how media attention could be leveraged. Supporters argue this is simply intelligence and self-belief, while critics see it as calculated self-promotion. One of the central themes Bauer emphasizes is Meghan's relationship with the media. Publicly, she has spoken often about the emotional toll of press scrutiny and intrusion. Bauer, however, challenges the simplicity of that narrative. He argues that Meghan both feared and needed the media, seeing it as a tool that could either damage or elevate her, depending on how it was handled. In his telling, conflict with the press was not always accidental, but sometimes the result of clashing expectations. An American celebrity mindset colliding with centuries-old royal traditions of silence and restraint. Bauer also revisits Meghan's entry into the royal family, framing it as a turning point where personal independence met institutional rigidity. He claims that from the beginning, there were deep misunderstandings on both sides. Meghan expected flexibility, influence, and a degree of autonomy that the royal system simply does not grant easily. The institution, on the other hand, expected gradual adaptation, patience, and deference to hierarchy. Bauer suggests that these incompatible assumptions laid the groundwork for tensions that would later explode into public view. Another area Bauer explores is Meghan's relationship with power and status. He argues that royal life, rather than fulfilling her, intensified her frustration. Titles brought visibility, but not control. Protocol offered prestige, but limited personal branding. In Bauer's analysis, Meghan struggled with the idea of being globally famous, yet institutionally constrained. This internal conflict, he suggests, fueled many of the decisions that followed, including the eventual step back from royal duties. The so-called new secrets are less about hidden scandals and more about reinterpretation of motives. Bauer frames Meghan as someone who believed she could modernize the monarchy through force of personality and media savvy. When that vision met resistance, disappointment quickly turned into disillusionment. Critics of Bauer argue that this framing ignores the emotional realities Meghan has spoken about, including mental health struggles and feelings of isolation. Supporters counter that understanding motive does not invalidate emotion, but adds complexity to the story. Bauer also addresses Meghan's partnership with Prince Harry, portraying it as both deeply personal and strategically powerful. Together, they became more than a couple. They became a brand. Bauer suggests that shared grievances, mutual protection, and a common enemy in the press strengthened their bond. At the same time, he implies that Harry's long-standing resentment toward media intrusion made him particularly receptive to Meghan's worldview. This alignment, in Bauer's telling, accelerated their break from royal life and reshaped Harry's public identity. What makes Bauer's claims controversial is not just what he says, but how firmly he says it. He presents his conclusions with confidence, drawing from interviews, timelines, and patterns of behavior. Yet, As with any biography, interpretation plays a major role. Meghan's supporters argue that Bauer's lens is overly skeptical and dismissive of racism, sexism, and the unique pressures she faced as a biracial woman entering one of the world's most traditional institutions. They see his work as part of a broader media culture, unwilling to fully empathize with her experience. Still, the public fascination persists because Meghan represents something larger than herself. She sits at the crossroads of monarchy and modern, celebrity, tradition, and reinvention. Bauer's analysis taps into a broader discomfort about how institutions adapt or fail to adapt to change. His exposure of new secrets is really an invitation to reconsider familiar events from a less sympathetic angle, challenging audiences to question which narratives they accept and why. Ultimately, Tom Bauer's claims do not offer a final verdict on Meghan Markle. Instead, they deepen the divide in how she is perceived. To some, his work confirms long-held suspicions about ambition and manipulation. To others, it reinforces the belief that Meghan is unfairly scrutinized for traits often praised in others. What is undeniable is that her story and the debates surrounding it are far from overdone as long as Meghan remains in the public eye. Writers like Bauer will continue to analyze, critique,